Brother and lads, welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Balogun is now becoming a subject of real interest. Arsenal have rejected another bid from another club for Balogun. It looks like it's going to be going, but Arsenal will want to get that amount of money, right? We'll be talking about Bitello as well. According to Graham Bailey, it looks like Bitello will be heading to Arsenal. Now, it is a deal that is progressing very, very slowly as compared to how it was reported a couple of days ago. And he says it is one where Arsenal are not without competition with the likes of Monaco, very interested in the midfielder, but Arsenal are very confident to add him to their ranks in this summer. And we'll be also talking about the slow selling process and the difficulties and problems Edu is facing in this transfer market. Players like Rob Holding, players like Cedric Suarez are all players that are going to be sold in this summer, but the problem is we cannot find buyers that can actually give us the real amount of money we are looking for. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well as we dive into the latest around the club. Now, the big story comes in from Graham Bailey, who's been talking about the interest in Bitello from Arsenal, and he says, speaking, on Arsenal and Bitello, he said, yeah, that is progressing really, really well. It is going to be slow, and it's going a little bit slower than many people reported. But I think Arsenal have done, but I think Arsenal have had other issues they've been dealing with at the moment. It is not an expensive deal. Gremio are looking for around 10 million euros. That is 7.5 million pounds. In terms of the deal, and Edu has already picked out the deal to be done. They said they really want the player. They are looking at him. They've done their homework on him, and that is why they're actually progressing to sign him. I think it's a deal Arsenal believe they are favourites for. But there is interest from elsewhere. Monaco, Porto, Zenit St. Petersburg are all looking at him. They don't have it on their way, Arsenal. But Arsenal confident they will get him to sign. That is Graham Bailey talking about this boy Bitello to the Transfers podcast. Of course, it's a deal that Arsenal reportedly we were supposed to get it done by the end of this week, according to sources from Brazil. It's a deal that was really progressing very well. It's a deal that we were dragging by the horns, but these are very difficult deals to do, in my opinion. Fabrizio actually talked about it in the middle of the week, actually towards the end of the week, and he said, yes, Arsenal want Bitello. I'm informed about the interest, but I'm not informed that the deal is actually closer to the end rather than closer to the beginning. So, according to Fabrizio, by the time he received the information on the deal, it was closer to the beginning rather than closer to the end. But an agreement between Gremio and Arsenal is expected very, very soon. And Arsenal is also expected to take in their final bid for the player very, very soon. I don't think all the clubs that are interested are actually a big threat when it comes to where we are in this transfer market. I don't think Zenit, Monaco, and all these clubs will be a big threat. Of course, the problem in this deal is, does he want to play every single day? Does he want to come in as a squad player? Does he see himself coming at Arsenal and then probably or potentially loaned out? I mean, does he want that kind of career, or does he want to go to a club as settled as Monaco, Zenit St. Petersburg, and then settle in and play football? So it's gonna depend on what exactly the player wants, what exactly the entourage of the player want. But I think Ed has done some good work on this one, and it's a deal that Arsenal are really, really interested in. So it will be difficult to see. It's really difficult to see it not happen, but it's not one that I think we are going to, wrap up just like the Kai Havertz deal or just like the Julian Timber deal. It's one where we will force Gremio to reduce on the asking price. We'll also have to sort out this problem of 70% rights, 30% rights, because Gremio, however much they want a sell-on clause in the future, they only own 70% of the player's rights. So that means that you either have to give them around 5 million euros and then the other party maybe 2 million euros, maybe 3 million euros. So it's a complicated deal, and I've always talked about Brazilian deals has always been very complicated. They're so, I mean, I just don't understand how they're structured. I do understand, actually. I would be lying if I say I don't understand how they're structured. I do understand how they're structured. Why? Because I've done some big research on Brazilian deals, especially watching videos on Tifo Football and all these other athletic handouts. And I really understand why Portuguese players and Brazilian players are hard to deal with. So potentially, there are companies that own rights to these players, right? So a club could own the players' rights up to 70%, and there is another third-party company that also owns the players' rights to 30%, 25%, or even at times 60%. But Arsenal are looking to find an agreement for this deal, and we are still hoping that we are in the driving seat until this time. Now, the other big story is around Folarin Balogun. So Flo is a player that Arsenal are really scratching their heads about his future. Manchester United are the latest club to show interest in Folarin Balogun, and it is believed that they actually want to sign him, despite the fact that, as I report this story, Manchester United have agreed a deal 70 million euros with Atalanta to sign their striker, that is Rasmus Højlund. So Folarin Balogun going to Manchester United, again, I think Arsenal need to be very, very careful where he goes, the terms and conditions, and the right amount of money. So let us start off with the bids. Arsenal have received 2 bids in the region of 30 to 35 million euros this week for Folarin Balogun, and both of them have actually been rejected. That is very good. That is very, very nice. Manchester United are the latest club to show interest in Folarin Balogun. And I'm not actually convinced that even if they've signed Rasmus Højlund, they're going to back down from the opportunity of a player like Folarin Balogun. They don't have strikers. They don't have a striker. I think they will need more than one. They will need more than one. You don't go into a new campaign with one striker. They will need another one. I won't be surprised if Manchester United table another bid for another striker, and that striker could be Folarin Balogun. So I don't know where to start with this one, but let's just start with Manchester United. Like I said with Chelsea, you cannot give Chelsea Folarin Balogun. Like, that is out of the picture. That is out of the question. That is off the to-do list. It is off the to-do list. You cannot give them Folarin Balogun. Balogun is a time bomb. Whether he stays at Arsenal, whether he goes to Crystal Palace, where he goes to Man United, Chelsea, Inter, he's going to come good. So there's no question about that. Arsenal know, and we must know, Folarin Balogun is just a bomb waiting to go off. He's a grenade without a pin. So we can't give him to Chelsea, and certainly we can't give him to Manchester United. I'm not saying Manchester United would definitely launch a title bid if we give him Balogun. What I'm trying to say is that if you give them Balogun, 2-3 years down the road, you will have given them a new Victor Osimhen. You will have given them a 160 million euro pound signing for just maybe 40 million euros or even 50 million euros. Actually, I think if Arsenal want to sell Balogun, it should be strictly outside the Premier League. Okay. Now, I don't have a problem with him going to Crystal Palace, but you ask yourself, what are the chances, probably in a million times, that that they will actually settle for that Crystal Palace will give us 40 million euros or 50 million euros in Folarin Balogun? I don't see that happen. I really don't see how that happen. I don't see how Crystal Palace give us 50 million euros in Folarin Balogun. I think they will give us something like 35 million euros or 30 million euros in Edin Ketia. That is plausible. That is actually very, very possible. But Balogun is a stock that has accumulated a lot. a lot of gravity, a lot of financial power. And that's why Arsenal are trying to reject these bids. We are rejecting these bids. There is hope that we can get some substantial amount of money from the sale of Florian Balogun. The big question is, where do we sell him? Like, I want to be honest. I want to be as an Arsenal fan in this video as I can. This is not analysis. This is deluded. This is pure delusion. Don't sell Florian Balogun to Man United. Don't sell him to a rival club. He's going to come good. Like, he will come good. He's not your Jesse Lingard. He's not your Danny Welbeck. He is Victor Osimhen levels. You remember Victor Osimhen going through a couple of stages before coming good, and now Aurelio De Laurentiis has said 150 million euros, or we are not talking. And someone will pay 150 million euros for Victor Osimhen if he can replicate that single season he had, the 2022-2023 season for Napoli. If he replicates that at any point in time, he's going to go for world crazy money. So Balogun to Manchester United, no. So the 30 million euros that Arsenal are rejecting, it is rightly so. Yes, we are desperate to sell. We are desperate to trim our squad, but it is not one where I'm on the side of Arsenal, selling our most prized assets for very, very poor money. The problem with Balogun is that if he doesn't sign a new deal, then he's substantially going to be cheaper next summer. But I think it is a bluff we are willing to call. I think we should call his bluff rather than selling for 20 million euros, 30 million euros. It's going to be a massive loss. We will have made a significantly huge loss on Balogun. And he's an academy player. So when I say huge loss, it doesn't mean that we bought him at a huge fee. It literally means that Arsenal should get more money than whatever anyone is offering at the moment. So let me know in the comment box below. Florian Balogun, how much? And should we sell him to Man United? Should we sell him to Chelsea if they are offering the right amount of money? In my opinion, no. Chelsea, they've signed Jackson. Let them jack with Jack. Man United have signed Rasmus Haaland. They think Haaland is going to be, let them have their own version of Erling Haaland. But I don't see Balogun go to a club like Manchester United under a manager like Erik ten Hag, and it doesn't come good. I don't see that. Now, the sale process, which actually is supposed to see Arsenal sign another player in the summer, is going very, very slowly. And I thought I would talk about it. So, Edu has a very big job to do. And I think the Declan Rice deal and the Julian Timber deal and the Kai Havertz deals were actually much easier than selling our players this summer. So, Mikel Arteta coming out to say that we have 30 players, which is unsustainable. It puts Edu under a lot of spotlight. One, it means that he needs to sell a minimum of 7 players. A minimum of 7 players. There are around 7 players in this squad that need to go. So we have 3 strikers, Balogun, Nketiah, and Jesus. Jesus definitely is our number 1. Nketiah and Balogun, Edu has got to make a decision. Does he sell Eddie Nketiah, who is going to cost over 35 million euros and below? Or does he sell Balogun, who's going to give you over 40 million euros and above? So if he's going to decide between the two, I think the right call is to sell Florian Balogun. His stock is higher. He can command a bigger fee. And I think there's so many other clubs interested in Balogun other than Eddie. Eddie is a player who has established himself as a second striker. He can come in and score goals when your main striker is out. But I think with Florian Balogun, he's a player who has established himself as one of the favorites to walk in this summer. And if you can get good money, you've got to cash in on him. But that is not our biggest problem. Our biggest problem is Albert Samuel Lokonga, Nuno Tavares, Rob Holding, Cedric Soares, and the goalkeeping situation. So the goalkeeping situation is actually bizarre because we have Alexander Runarsson, who should not be an Arsenal player, to be honest. We have Arthur Okonkwo, young goalkeeper. I like him, but it looks like he's going to be out of the door this summer, right? And then we also have the likes of Matt Turner and Carl Hayne. So I think Edu also still has to find a market for those players. So the problem with ourselves is that we don't have players like Manchester City's or Chelsea's, proven players that are good enough to attract some potential suitors on the market. Maybe Chelsea didn't get the right amount of money they actually bought those players for, but they did get some, amount of money back. With Arsenal, Pepe, Holding, Cedric, where are we going to sell them? Edu has a very, very big job to do. But in the next 30 days, I still expect him to do some good work in terms of sales. He's not bad at selling, really, but the market just doesn't favor players like Arsenal's to be bought. That's the problem we have.